She lent her last $10 to a stranger at the train station, not knowing he was a millionaire. The rain fell steadily that November afternoon as Margaret stepped onto the platform at Union Station. At 58, she had learned to read the weight of silences and the stories hidden in strangers' eyes. Her sensible heels clicked against the wet concrete as she checked her watch. The 4:15 to Hartford was running late again. She noticed him immediately. A young man, perhaps 30, sat hunched on the platform floor near the yellow safety line. His clothes were rumpled, his hair damp from the rain, and his face carried that particular kind of exhaustion that comes from carrying burdens too heavy for one person alone. He wasn't asking for anything. He simply sat there, staring at the tracks with hollow eyes. Margaret had seen that look before. Years ago, when her own son Daniel had struggled through his darkest period after losing his job and his marriage in the same devastating month. She remembered how pride had nearly destroyed him, how he had refused help until he had nothing left. She walked past the young man once, heading toward the covered waiting area. But something pulled at her heart. That old familiar tug that her late husband Robert used to call her compass of conscience. She stopped, turned around, and walked back. "Excuse me," she said gently, standing a respectful distance away. "Are you all right?" The young man looked up, startled. His eyes were gray-blue, tired but kind. "I'm fine, thank you," he said automatically, the way people do when they're anything but fine. Margaret tilted her head slightly. "I've raised 3 children and worked in a hospital for 30 years. I know what fine looks like, and you're not it." A ghost of a smile crossed his face. "Just having a rough day, ma'am. I'll be okay." She noticed his empty hands, no bag, no phone, no wallet visible. "Have you eaten today?" He hesitated, and that hesitation told her everything. "I'm not hungry," he said quietly. Margaret sat down on the bench nearby, setting her purse beside her. She didn't say anything for a moment, just watched the rain create patterns on the platform. Finally, she spoke. "My husband used to say that the hardest part of falling isn't hitting the ground. It's asking someone to help you back up." The young man, whose name she would soon learn was Nathan, looked at her with sudden emotion in his eyes. "I had a wallet," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "Someone took it on the subway. My phone, my cards, everything. I've been trying to figure out how to get home to Boston for the past 6 hours." Margaret felt her heart squeeze. "Do you have family there?" "My sister. She's all I have left. Our mom passed away 3 months ago, and I came down here to settle the estate. I was supposed to head back this morning, but everything went wrong." His voice cracked slightly. "I've been trying to call her from payphones, but I don't have her number memorized. It's all in my phone." She reached into her purse and pulled out her worn leather wallet. Inside were 2 $5 bills. Her grocery money until Friday, still 3 days away. Her pension check was modest, and she had learned long ago to budget carefully. But as she looked at Nathan's face, she thought of Daniel, of all the times strangers had shown him unexpected kindness when she couldn't be there. "Here," she said, holding out the bills. "It's not much, but it'll get you something warm to eat and maybe help you make some calls." Nathan stared at the money, then at her. "I can't take that." "Yes, you can," Margaret said firmly but gently. "And you will. Because someday, when you're back on your feet, you'll help someone else. That's how kindness works. It's not a transaction. It's a relay race." His hand shook slightly as he took the money. "I don't know what to say." "Don't say anything. Just promise me you'll eat something warm." She stood up, smoothing her skirt. "There's a sandwich shop right inside the station. Tell them Margaret sent you. The owner, Jimmy, he's a good man." Nathan stood too, and for a moment, he looked like he might cry. "Thank you," he managed. "Can I at least get your address?" "I'll pay you back, I promise." Margaret smiled. "If you really want to pay me back, just remember this feeling. Remember what it's like to receive help when you need it most. Then pass it on when you can. She began to walk away, but Nathan called after her. Wait, please. I need to know your name, your full name. Margaret Sullivan, she said. From Hartford. 3 weeks passed. Thanksgiving came and went quietly in Margaret's small apartment. She prepared a modest meal for herself and her neighbor, Mrs. Chen, who was also alone. She didn't think much about the young man from the station. Life moved forward as it always did, one careful day at a time. Then, on a cold Monday morning, there was a knock at her door. A courier stood there with an enormous envelope. Inside was a letter and a check that made Margaret's hands tremble so badly she had to sit down. The letter was handwritten in neat script. Dear Margaret, you gave me $10 when I had nothing. But more importantly, you gave me dignity when I had lost all of mine. You saw me when I was invisible. You treated me like a human being when I felt like I had disappeared from the world. I want you to know that your kindness saved me in ways you cannot imagine. That day at the station, I was at my lowest point. I had lost my job, my savings were gone, and I was drowning in debt. Your simple act of compassion reminded me that goodness still exists, that I still mattered. I made it home that day because of you. I found my way back, not just to Boston, but to myself. It took time, but I rebuilt my life. The company I started 5 years ago finally succeeded. Last month, we were acquired, and I found myself in a position I never dreamed possible. This check is not repayment for $10. Money can never repay what you gave me. This is a thank you for seeing my humanity when I had forgotten it myself. Please accept this with my deepest gratitude. Use it however you wish. Travel, rest, help others, spoil your grandchildren. Whatever brings you joy. You taught me that kindness is the greatest currency we have. I'm simply trying to pass it on, as you asked. With eternal gratitude, Nathan Pierce. The check was for $50,000. Margaret sat in her quiet living room, tears streaming down her face. She thought of Robert, of Daniel, of all the small kindnesses she had tried to weave into the world throughout her life. She had never expected anything in return. That was never the point. But as she held that check, she realized something profound. Kindness, real kindness, never truly disappears. It echoes. It multiplies. It comes back in ways we never anticipate, often when we need it most. She picked up her phone and called her daughter. Sarah, she said, her voice thick with emotion, I have a story to tell you. And then I think it's time we started that scholarship fund we always talked about. The one for students who need a second chance. Because Margaret understood something that Nathan was just learning. The greatest gift we can give isn't money or success or even happiness. It's the simple, powerful act of seeing each other's humanity and responding with grace. That rainy day at the station, 2 strangers had saved each other. And the ripples of that moment would continue to spread, touching lives neither of them would ever know, long into the future. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more stories about kindness and human connection. Leave a comment below telling us about a time when a stranger's kindness changed your day. Your story might inspire someone else to pass on compassion when it's needed most.